So my goal this morning is to kind of give you an overview of Joomla, make it as easy as 1, 2, 3. In this session, we're going to talk about design, access control, and maintenance. The last two a little bit briefly, but design is the one that kind of everybody wants to know about when I say, what's my site going to look like? And in Joomla, design is all about the template and the template overrides you choose to build. So in Joomla, this is a Joomla template. Your site can look like anything you want. In the early days, Joomla websites were pretty obvious because they were pretty boxy and pretty boring. That is not so true anymore. So this is a Joomla website, and this is a Joomla website. Both of those are completely responsive, so that if I look at them on an iPhone or a tablet or my desktop, they shrink and look amazing really nicely. This is also a Joomla website. So again, you have absolute control over the look and feel of your site. Now, I will say this, no CMS gives you the flexibility of a custom design. That's just the way it is. A custom design, handcrafted website will always give you maximum control over the layout. But a handcrafted straight HTML website is also a nightmare to manage. You have no built-in functionality. It's just a bunch of HTML. For my money, for a long time, I have said use a content management system. I mentioned this earlier just before we started this morning. About almost 10 years ago now, I was doing a talk on WordPress, Joomla, and Drupal, an introduction. Probably about 200 people in the room because all three of those were pretty new at the time. And somebody asked the question, so when should I take my static HTML website and move it to a content management system? A friend of mine from the back row yelled out, as soon as you've got more than 5 pages, which is pretty true. I can crank out a Joomla website in minutes if that's all you want. So your Joomla website can look like anything you desire. How do Joomla templates work? They are built with what's called module positions. Now, earlier we talked about features in Joomla, and I mentioned the word modules. Modules are like the display on your dashboard. It displays information outside the main content area. Joomla templates are created with all of these module positions laid out, and every one of them, there is no rhyme or reason to these, okay? Joomla template developers have their own naming convention, although user 1, 2, 3 and that kind of thing is pretty popular, as is position 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. This particular template has a top module position, a specific search module position, that's where you'd put your search module, a toolbar across the top, a header, 4 advertising modules at the top, a sidebar left which can be actually pushed to the right, an inset, user positions, and all of those. And actually on this particular template, there is no position for the content. So on this page, you would never see content. You would only see what's pushed out to module positions. The great thing about Joomla templates is this. When you change or update or manage your template, you are not making any changes to your content. So the content stays the same, but the display of your content can change dramatically when you put in a new template. And I'll demonstrate that in just a few moments. Positions are going to change. So when you're building your Joomla site and you build it, you might build it with the default template installed because maybe your template's not ready yet. And you go ahead and do that. You can create your entire website and not get the template till a couple of days before launch, to be honest. Because it's about content and functionality as much as it is about the template. So when you install your new template, sometimes the positions of your modules are going to change. So let's say, for instance, I put something here in user 1 that's just a little advertisement for my upcoming sale this weekend, and with Advanced Module Manager, I can set that to publish today and unpublish on Saturday night at midnight. But if I applied that template, well, it's here, but suddenly it's going to be up there. Indeed, some templates might not have the user 1 position, so that module disappears from my site. So when you are talking about templates in Joomla, you're talking about layout, design, look and feel, the size of my fonts, the color of my fonts, all of that is managed by my template. And if I apply a new template, stuff is going to change, but not my content, because it's completely separate. So that's a big distinction in content management systems. So where do I get templates for Joomla? Well, there's thousands and thousands and thousands of them. There is no official template extension directory like there are for extensions at Joomla. So you can Google Joomla extensions and literally Joomla templates and literally find thousands of them. A good place to start would be Joomla24.com. All of the free templates are listed, pretty much all the free templates are listed there. Again, how do I know what a template does and how do I know how it works? I read the documentation, right. And if the template doesn't come with documentation, find another template, because chances are it may not be the best one. There's pretty okay documentation here. Most of those links will actually go to the template developer page where they'll have documentation available for you. Free templates are generally pretty limited. They'll have enough options in the back end to get you started. They might even have some color versions that you can choose, but honestly, most often than that, that's about all you might get. There are commercial templates. Bestofjoomla.com is a kind of a conglomeration of all of the commercial templates, and they will list templates from all of the template membership kind of club websites. There are a gazillion of these. JoomlaBamboo.com is a guy from Australia that puts out absolutely beautiful templates. Joomla Shack is the owner of Joomla Shack is a co-owner of OS Training. So again, full disclosure, they put out some really nice templates as well. So there are a gazillion places. Rocket Themes puts out these templates. You can expect to pay anything from $25 to $100 for a single template. Or if you join the club, you might pay $60 for a year, $100 for a year. Some of these clubs even charge $300 a year for developers who can use any of their templates on as many sites as they want. When you're paying $45, $50, you're saying, I want to use this template on this site. And generally speaking, you can't remove the footer link. It depends on the developer. So again, if that's important to you, take the moral high road, buy the pro version that says I can remove it or leave it on there. But commercial templates, there are gazillions of those. There is a really awesome program called Artisteer. It's a template generator. Now, if there are any actual template developers in the room, you're going to start throwing stones at me right now, because the code that comes out of Artisteer isn't the cleanest. And there are some limitations to it. But you remember that story I told you earlier this morning about going to Wiley Publishing and being able to build that site in an hour? I used Artisteer to generate a template that looked exactly like theirs. It took me 15 minutes. It's $129. It's PC only, so sorry you Mac users, including me. They've abandoned the Mac version of it. But in the PC area, it works unbelievably well. I'll show you a couple of them in just a moment. Of course, there are custom themes or templates that you can pay someone to actually build for you. The cost for those is whatever you want to pay and however much they want to charge. The nice thing with a custom template is, of course, that it's yours. Nobody else can use it. So you're not going to see it somewhere else on the web. But it usually costs a chunk of change. Well, how do you decide and how do you manage your templates? The first thing to do, of course, is research. If you're looking online for a template, there are a gazillion choices you've got, and unfortunately, a number of decisions you have to make. If you're going to use a template club like Joomla Bamboo, Joomla Works, Joomla Shack, you're actually not just buying a template, you're buying an entire template philosophy. They are all using different frameworks. Joomla Shack uses the T3 framework. Joomla Bamboo uses the T3 framework. It's an excellent framework, offers some really awesome abilities, including it's responsive out of the box. So if you want a website that works on every device, then responsive design is a great way to go, and all of them now are doing that. The Joomla Shack uses the Gantry framework, I think. Boy, somebody correct me if I'm wrong if you know. It is, thank you. They use the gantry framework, which is exactly the same as the J3 framework, or the T3 framework, it's just different. It does the same stuff, it's just a different approach. You're buying into that philosophy. So just be aware of that as you decide, so do your research. Once you have your template, you install it exactly the same way I installed JCE this morning. Extensions, Extension Manager, find the file or click Upload, click Search My Computer, upload the file, and it installs it. And then you just go to Template Manager and turn it on. The thing you have to do is you have to pay attention to where the modules are and how they look. A lot of templates today are coming with what's called module class suffixes, and I'll show you one in just a minute. They're so cool. So if I have a couple of modules here on the right-hand side, I can have a blue background in that one and a red background in this one. Those are module class suffixes. They come built into the template. How do I know what module class suffixes are available in my template? Read the documentation. Are you getting tired of me saying that? And then modify. So let's just take a quick peek at a few of the templates that are out there. And I purposely have not, I've not gone too deep into this because this topic can get really crazy. I just released a template design class in Joomla 3, which you have access to for a month. So if you're interested in this topic, I'm going to suggest that you watch that video. But I'm going to show you the website that we ended up with on the Joomla Intermediate course. Isn't this pretty? No, it's a mess. The point wasn't necessarily to make it look great because it was a tutorial where I just showed off a bunch of stuff. But this is the Breeze template from OS Training. It's free. When you want to install a template, as I mentioned, you come up, you ask the question, how do I know when something is an update that's available? With this one, this is the Advanced Module Manager. It's going to tell me that there's an update. And I can go straight to Components, No Number Extension Manager, and it's going to tell me what extensions have updates. And I can just click Update, and it's automatic, which is really cool. Watchfully would also tell me, because if this site was using Watchful. I go to Extensions, Extension Manager. I can upload a package file, and indeed, that's how you're going to upload a template. So I would choose the file, click Upload. Once it is successful, then the template is now listed under my Template Manager. So let me say a couple of things about templates in Joomla at this point. I can have multiple templates on my site. I can have one template for one area, another template for another area, and another template for another area. I don't recommend that because you want your users to have a fairly unique or a fairly uniform experience, right? However, here's what's really cool. Most templates today come with variations. And you can choose a variation of a template for one area of your site, another variation of the template for another area of your site, and another one for another area of your site. Case in point, Pfizer, the makers of Tylenol, children's Tylenol is red, adult Tylenol is blue. We just finished creating a site for a Christian ministry down in Kansas City. So I thought I'd show that to you because it's a pretty good illustration of what I'm saying. But understand, it's a Christian ministry. I hope I don't offend anybody with that. But it's a great example of what I'm talking about. I reset my browser yesterday, so nothing is there anymore. Live demos are so fun, aren't they? So this is a template that actually comes from Joomla Bamboo. And if I showed you the original template, you would say, that is nothing like what you downloaded. And actually, with just very little CSS changes, I was able to take what they said at Joomla Bamboo and make this out of it. So this is a module position that has a slideshow built in. And I think, we're using the Joomla Bamboo slideshow. These are module positions that have a title, an image, and then it grabs the latest podcast. This one grabs a random article out of that category. This one grabs a video out of the video category randomly, or no, featured. They have a featured button. And this one is the next event out of J events. When you click on any of these, if I go to broadcasts, you'll see instantly, this is the same template, but now it's whatever color that is. If I click on Solutions, you'll notice that it's a different logo and a different color. This is still all exactly the same template, but this template allows for color variations. You assign the variation based on the menu. So when I click on a menu, it says, oh, they want this version of the template, not that version of the template. It's still all one template with just a bunch of what's called overrides. In Joomla, you have unbelievable power using template overrides to change the look and feel of the same template in any given setting or context. So Joomla templates are really good like that. If I go back over to my cool cafe and click on OS Training, this is a free template that we're giving away with OS Training. It's called the Breeze template. You'll see that there are absolutely 0 options to this template. On the advanced side, I can upload a logo, I can say enable the Google font, and I can choose the font that I want to use. So that's kind of helpful. I don't have to actually do that in my CSS. I can enable Font Awesome, which enables me to put those little icons everywhere. And I have a color scheme where it's blue. And the menu active background is a different shade of blue. That's it. Those are all the options I get. And then I can assign that template by menu. So let's say I wanted to assign this template to different sections and have different color schemes. Well, even this cheap, free, really low-end template allows me to do that. If I come along and say, if I close that for just a second, and I click Duplicate, now I have 2 versions of the template, but I don't really. It's all coming from the same template file. I can come into this version of the template, change the color, well, that's really going to be ugly. Click on Menu Assignment, and change that to all of the menu items from our intermediate class. Click Save and Close. Hit refresh over here. And you'll notice that it's still that kind of blue. If I go to breakfast, it's now pretty ugly. But quickly, I can actually change the color scheme. Now, that's a really simple example, and a lot of Joomla templates come with far more advanced ways of doing that. But out of the box, this one does that, and a lot of them do. You can create multiple copies of a template just like that, and change whatever settings, and then assign it to a menu item, so you still have the same look and feel with a slightly different variation. Up on the right-hand side, you see the upcoming events? Well, that was originally just a black and white, black text in a white background. In this particular class, we did what's called a module class suffix. So if I come down and find upcoming events, you'll notice that the module class suffix here is blue. Now, if your template doesn't support that, that's not going to do anything. But if your template supports module class suffixes, you'll get a listing of those in the documentation, and you can just put those in and magical things happen. So if I take the word blue out of there, click Save, hit refresh, you'll see that that is now completely different. I can have as many module class suffixes in there as I want. I can put background images, I can change the H3 tags and make them into do anything I want. I can even make them Comic Sans Serif. Again, just by adding that class in. So templates in Joomla are really, really flexible. And now that's blue again. I can define that color, that style to be anything I want in the CSS files. Modifying your templates is a little bit trickier. If you know CSS, you're golden. You can make changes to your templates because they're all open source. Even if you've purchased them, they're yours. You can make changes, add module class suffixes, different template overrides to do different layouts as you want. But generally speaking, the template, you can do anything you want. Let me show you the back end of Integrity Resource just really quickly. And I didn't tell the owner of the site that I was using his site as an example today, so can I use your site as an example? Oh, thanks. Okay, great. The question will be, do I still remember the login? No. I do. What do you know? So here's the template manager, and you'll see that we made 5 different versions of the same template. This comes from Joomla Bamboo. Again, I'm not just pushing Joomla Bamboo, I'm just saying this is an example. So you'll notice a slight difference in the back end to this template. This is a pretty sophisticated template. In the General tab, I've got Development Mode, Magic, Theme Magic, build the right to left CSS, where the T3 assets folder is, and of course if I change that my site breaks. Do I want to optimize the CSS and optimize the JavaScript? It'll compress all that for me on the fly. Can I remove the copyright? So here again I've purchased this template and it has a remove copyright button, which 2 thumbs up, because that's the way it should be, right? And I can add custom copyright right here at the bottom, which would automatically go in the footer. Here is where I choose the theme for this particular area, what the logo type is. I can upload the logo, add a tagline, where the logo is going to sit. And I even can change, because this is built on a bootstrap responsive theme, I can change how many columns up here without any programming. This is really awesome. So if I only wanted 2 header fields or module positions up here instead of 4, I would just click 2 and 2 of them would go away. I click Save, and then I go put modules in those positions. And that is available for the entire website. So you'll notice that I don't even actually get to my breadcrumbs until I've gone through all of those module positions. This thing has about 60 module positions out the wazoo. Banner positions, all kinds of things. When I look at navigation, I also have the ability to use a mega menu. A mega menu allows you to put anything inside the menu, which can be abused if you want. But do I hover or do I click? Can I have off-canvas navigation? So if I click, it slides the canvas over. Do I show the submenus? What navigation style do I use? What's the animation, and how long does the animation last? I can also add custom code to my headers, footers, and anywhere I want in here. I can choose the fonts for my entire website, including H1 tags and all of those. And I can add a lazy load back to top and sticky nav, which means the navigation will scroll with me even though as I go down the page, the navigation stops, keeps coming. And then where that's assigned. So this is an example of a really sophisticated theme or template for Joomla that uses a pretty significant T3 framework. If we showed you one from Joomla Shack, it would look similar and have similar kinds of abilities. Some of these templates you'll buy, you can literally configure everything in the back end just like that and never touch a line of code. They come with a gazillion module class suffixes, a gazillion shortcodes that you can use in your content. For instance, this template comes with a shortcode that can add a light bulb to the beginning of your paragraph. It can add a background and lines and things to the paragraph text in your styles. It comes with a lot of those things. So again, Joomla templates have come a long, long way over the last few years. So a quick review. Joomla templates allow your site to look and feel any way you want. You can have more than one template on your site, and you can assign those templates to any menu items or any area of your site based on the menu structure that you've built. You can create module class suffixes or have module class suffixes available to you that will change the look and feel of the modules on any given module position that you have. And it can change the module look and feel to whatever you want it to be. And finally, you can actually create multiple versions of a template, apply different styles within those templates, and then allow them to manage different areas of your site. We have an entire template design course online that you have access to for a month. Templating in Joomla is a subject that's about this wide, and we've talked about it about this much. But that's all I can really hit on. So let me take some questions on templates before we move on to the last section of the morning. You want to ask, is there anything burning question that you kind of came with this morning? Yeah.
Well, okay, I was telling you earlier that, so my home page is a custom page.
Right.
It looks like a piece of artwork.
Right.
Right, so, and I'm paying somebody to do that, and he's writing the HTML, so when you hover over, it flashes or whatever, and a box pops up. But I told him I wanted to use Joomla.
Right.
Right? So, and I'm sitting here thinking, well, maybe I paid him for nothing, because I just needed him to do a really fancy picture, like, because he knows Photoshop really well, or whatever it is.
Sure.
So is that really all I needed? Did I need him to do that?
Well, again, okay, so the question is, I've got this, I want my homepage to be highly customized, so when you hover over different areas of an image, it's got an image map on it, and it hovers over, pops up some stuff, and when I click, it goes to different areas of my site. The short answer is you could have built that into a module on your own, but you still have to build the HTML to do it. So if you don't know how to build image maps in HTML, you still have to pay someone to do it. But realistically, you could have gotten a very simple theme or template, taken one of the header or banner module positions and built that in using a custom module, a custom HTML module, which is basically just copy and paste HTML into.
So can I still do that though? I mean, can I take his really beautiful image that I paid $500 for one page, and then take this one image and then put it in a template?
You can put it, yes, you could. You would build it. The way to do it, there's two ways to do that. The question is, can she take the HTML that she's paid all this money to get, can she shove that into a Joomla template? The short answer is absolutely. You can do it one of two ways. You can actually have somebody build it into your template for you, which would be a template override file for just the home page, which, again, I've got illustrations on that on the thing. It's a little hard to explain here, but it's not hard to do. It's just a little bit of code. And then that would be a very static home page, but it'd still be the front page of your Joomla website. That's one way to do it, probably the preferred way. The other way to do it would be to take a more simple template, like Breeze or something like that, and take a module position and paste the HTML that the guy has built for you into the module position and just have one module on your home page. Okay, so you could do that as well. It's a little clunkier. The advantage to that is you could edit that if you needed to later on. It'd be pretty scary to do, but you could. Versus having to pay a template developer to edit it if you needed a change later as well. I'm all about giving the end user power if the end user knows not to touch something. Okay, so putting that stuff into module positions is great, but it's a little dangerous at the same time. So always back up your site, right? Always have backups. That's a bit of a tough question because by default, I would default to build the custom template override first. But, and that's not very hard to do. Other questions about templates? I know we really breezed through that quickly. Yeah?
Is there a class or a video that is offered for us to understand CSS?
We have a whole CSS course at OS Training. Again, you'll have access to that. You have access, at the end of the hour, I'll show you what you've got access to for the month if you choose. It's a bit old at this point, but it would cover probably 80% of what you need. It's not a CSS3 class. So you're not going to get the advanced CSS3 stuff out of that class, but it'll certainly give you the foundations for sure. We also have a foundational PHP course that you'll have access to. So basically, you need to take the next month off work and watch about 1,000 videos. Oh, you'll be so exciting. I'm not here to sell you anything today. I'm really not. I'm just glad we can give you the month and let you see what's there, but I'm certainly not asking you to sign up for 10 years or anything.
I do have one other last question is about performance. Let's say you use a template, but it takes a long time to load. Or do you work with people to understand how to do cache and how to manage that?
Yeah, caching is pretty important in Joomla. The preferred method is have a light template. I mean, don't use images that are 2 megapixels big in your template file. And it still happens. It drives me nuts. I'm in Dillsboro, Indiana. We're the last house in the street that gets DSL. My download on a good day is 4 meg. I hate some of you for your websites because the text loads and then suddenly this image, you know, I abandon your site, right? So optimize your images, even your template images. But the cool thing with CSS these days is half the images we used 3 years ago, like every button we created for our website, use CSS for now. Totally image free. You can really knock down the size of your site. And you know, there's a lot of Google tools to see your site speed, Google site speed. And of course, Google penalizes you now for slow sites. So hosting is important too. But yeah, there are, so get your images for your template as small as you can, understanding that you still might have a 500, 600K homepage, right? Yes, caching is available in Joomla. It's right in global configuration. There's a plugin for it. And we've got a tutorial on that somewhere, I think. But honestly, it's just a matter of turning the cache on and saying how much you want to cache. A lot of templates are even coming with caching tools now as well. So, great questions, you guys. I hope I've been helpful and clear and giving you the whole 1, 2, 3 approach. It's a big topic. Any other template questions? Yes. Oh, okay.
I want to make sure that I understand. So when you duplicate a template and you've got these variations, you can make major structural changes, but they're all...
Yeah. You can't make major structural changes. You can make color, or it depends on the template, but let's say your template allows you, well, that Joomla Bamboo template I showed you, allows you to change the module positions and the layout of the entire module, all of those module positions, by version of the template. It's unbelievably cool because it's all based on Twitter Bootstrap. So in the home page, I might want to have 4 header boxes. So 4 module positions for headers. But on every other page, I might just want to have 1. Well, yeah, that template will allow you to do it. Okay, and a lot of the paid templates will. The free templates like Breeze do not allow you to do it. Someone would actually have to go in and create those template override files for you. They're not hard to do. You just kind of got to pay attention. You need to know a little bit of PHP, you need to know fairly good with HTML, and you need to know a little bit of CSS. So again, that may be something you want to pay somebody to do. But I'd look at some of those really good template clubs and like Bamboo and Joomla Shack and see if you can find something there. Because if I showed you, for instance, if I showed you the Joomla Bamboo template that built Integrity Resource, you'd go, that's not the same template. But yeah, it is. That's how flexible Joomla Bamboo is in the back end by allowing me to change modules, change the template, the module class suffixes, and the colors schemes of all of those things just pretty easily. It's pretty amazing stuff.
I wonder how many people actually buy those templates from those places. I guess it's lucrative at this point.
I would say, you know, you could...
Frameworks away for free, you know.
Right, the frameworks are all free. T3 and most of those frameworks are free. The trick is, of course, do you really want to learn the PHP, HTML, and CSS to make those templates work? So yeah, template manufacturers are still making pretty good money. I would say they're making less money than they were 5 years ago because it's become easier to build. And so you could, I mean, if you took our template course, you'd be able to build a Joomla template pretty easily. It's not rocket science. All right, let me talk about the last topic that really isn't about design, but I don't want to leave it out because it's pretty critical to talk about. And that's access control. Access control in Joomla was one of the things in Joomla 1.5 that Joomla really got maligned for. There wasn't any. It was pretty useless. It was public, registered, or special. And you really couldn't tell Joomla to let a user do X but not Y, or see X but not Y. Well, access control they got really serious about in Joomla 1.6, and in Joomla 3 it absolutely rocks. Think of it this way. With your Joomla site, you can control what a user sees and what a user can do. You can set up entire sections of your site just for particular user groups or individual users. You can give an individual user access to create an article in one category, but not another category. You can allow a user into the back end, and all they'll see is 10 articles or 20 articles that they have the ability to edit, but nothing else. Or manage the poll, or manage your web forms, or whatever you choose. ACL manages what a user can see and what a user can do. This is the default screen, and it gets pretty crazy in Joomla. So it works the same way as the options for articles. We have global permissions, and as you can see, a public person has absolutely no permissions. Let me just flip over to the website real quickly. This is the, no, that's integrity resource. Let me get out of that, sorry. Let's go to global configuration here and click on permissions. So you'll see that a public user has absolutely no ability. A guest on your site has absolutely they can't do anything. This is an anonymous user that just comes to your website. If you allow people to log in on your site, a registered user is allowed to log in. They're not allowed to do anything else. They don't get any permissions from super users. They're not allowed to log into the administrator. They can't create, edit, or delete anything. An author is allowed to create articles, any articles by default, but not allowed to publish them. An editor is allowed to create and edit articles, but can't publish. A publisher can do everything that an editor and a creator can do, as well as publish. So that's the default, right? It's a pretty simple workflow that if you give somebody this status or put them in the user group of author, they can come along and create content for you. But what if I only want them to create content in a particular area, right? And that's a big deal. Well, it's really brain dead simple. The first step is to create a user group. And in this one, I created a user group called Staff and another one called Training Editor. This is a demo site, and I wanted our staff to be able to log in and look at training videos, right? Simple thing. But I don't want the general public to see them. And even if I have normal registered users on my site who can make reservations at my Way Cool Cafe, I don't want them to see the training videos either. So this user group can access my category called training videos. This user group, you'll notice, is a subset of staff, therefore inherits all of the permissions that the staff have, so they can see the training videos. But this group also has the ability to edit the training videos because they're an editor. Once I've defined my groups, I come along and say, define the access for those groups. So the staff user group, the staff content area, as a super user, I can read it, and managers and administrators can look at that content, as well as staff editors or staff users. So I've got my user group called staff and staff editors. I've set up my access levels, and now under my category manager, I say training. And in the training area, I say that guests can't do anything. Staff can't do anything, they can't create, but a training editor can create, edit, and delete. So when I say, what's your name, sir? John. John comes along, comes on staff. He's a pretty good guy. I trust him. I'm going to make him a training editor. When John logs into the website and he clicks create content, he can't create articles in any other category. He can't edit the menu, but he can edit and create training materials I trust him to do that. I even trust him to say, delete the old ones. And so I can control what John can see and what John can do using access control. It works on the front end as well. If John was to log in on the front end, he could read the staff training, edit the staff training. He could read the menus, but he can't edit the menus. That's all done through access control. It's a pretty big topic. It's unbelievably powerful. If you're the only editor on your website and your website doesn't have logged in users, you don't need to worry about this at all. You can just put it out of your mind. Joomla has, the defaults are great and very secure. But if you have any need to hide content from any group or show content to just one group, like the board of your nonprofit, or have users that just have access to certain areas to edit, then access control is something you need to pay attention to and learn. Again, we've got gobs of training on it at OS Training. So, it is 12:28, sports fans. Unbelievable. Joomla is as easy as 1, 2, 3. You focus on your content first. You plan, you install, you set up categories, articles, and show. The cache workflow, categorize, add, and show. You add features to your website, your Joomla site, via extensions. There are 5 kinds of extensions: components, modules, plugins, templates, and languages. And then finally, you apply the template, set up your module positions. You can edit your template as you need using some pretty simple tools to create template overrides, and they're not as hard as they sound. And then you give your users access permissions based on what you need. And voila, you have a Joomla website. So hopefully that's been a helpful overview for you, a 3-step approach to building a Joomla site. Now, of course, it gets bigger than that. I always get the question, well, what should I use? Should I use WordPress, Joomla, or Drupal? Use what's right for your site. But honestly, for my money, Joomla gives you the perfect balance between features that WordPress doesn't have and ease of use that Drupal will never have. It's a great combination of feature sets and ease of use and setup once you get over some of these basic settings or basic things that you need to learn. So hopefully that's been helpful. Any questions before we're done? Kind of overview questions or anything I've talked about today? Yeah.
Templates. Joomla will work with just about anybody, pre-processed or pre-developed templates, right? I mean, there's a lot of companies out there that offer templates.
Yes.
Okay, and I'm just saying, is there any limitations or any designs that there is a limit?
No. I wish I had the image here. They've taken the site down since we built it. I built a site that if you looked at it, you'd go, that is not a Joomla site. I mean, it was bizarre. We had bobbleheads on it. We had stuff popping. It was kind of like what you're looking for. Stuff popping up all over the place. That is not, it was a Joomla site. And it rocked for a long time. It was really a fun site. So no, you can make your Joomla site look like just about anything you want. Any other questions this morning? Yes.
I'll just ask, so your next class isn't until June in Atlanta?
Thank you. That's a wonderful segue into my conclusion for the day. Let me just quickly talk to you about what you get with your month of training. Let me log in here. We're really pleased to offer this to you. Again, I'm not trying to sell you anything today. I don't believe in that. But if you do take us up on the offer for your month of free training, when you log in, you'll come to this page. This is your dashboard. It will show you all the courses that you've started and looked at. We do offer certificates of completion. There's quizzes after every video section, and you get a nice little certificate if you want. Go ahead and click on Joomla Training, and this is where all of our Joomla courses are, and we have a gob of them. The Joomla Beginner course was by Vicki Watson. I did the intermediate course. We have access control and maintenance course, a course on JCE, which I really recommend you take. Advanced Module Manager has its own course, again, where I go over all the feature sets there. Joomla 3 template design. We also have courses in Joomla 2, And all the way down here at the bottom, even old Joomla 1.5 courses if you really, really want to get old school, which don't recommend at all. But we left them up there just for fun. And then there's a whole bunch of individual extension courses as well. You also have access to our support. I will say this, the support is searchable by Google, and it's open for anyone to read. So if you do ask us a support question, we'll be happy to answer it. Just understand, the world can see it. It's not private in any sense. Please never give us your username and password in the public support forum, because like I said, everybody will read it. But we offer Joomla support, WordPress support, and Drupal support. By the way, you also have access to every other video on our site as well for the month while you're there. So feel free to register, log in, and take advantage of that for the next 30 days. Oh, and live training. Thanks. If you're interested in live training, we do have 3 Joomla courses coming up. We have one here in Atlanta from June 25th to the 26th. What that is, I'll be honest with you, it's the beginner and intermediate class that we offer online. The advantage to live training is that you get someone to talk to. When I do training, I sit there during breaks, lunch, and I'll even stay up half the night with you on your website. And Steve does the same thing. We can help you out, and we can do a little bit more of customized training for you if you want. I'm not going to sell it beyond that. It's there if you want it. We also do offer on-site training where we'll come to your company and train your staff if you want. And again, if that's something you'd be interested in, just let us know and we can work that through with you. But end of commercial. I apologize. But she asked.
I just wonder because, I was thinking that is there a place where you can say, if you don't have a big company, it's just me and my
Right.
husband, and you want other people online to say, we want to pay for you guys to come in.
Sure, you could pull a group together like that. We'd be happy to come anytime.
Why would you put a group together like that? I mean, is there somewhere on the site?
Well, what we normally do is most of our training is held in Courtyards by Marriott, and you bring your laptop, and we provide everything else. We provide a server for you to work on for the 2 days, and we will build three sites, complete sites, in the 2 days that we're together.
So how many people does it take to make up a group?
Usually 6 to 8 minimum.
As long as you have 6 to 8.
Yeah. Yeah, although this one's open to the public, and so, there'll be 6 or 8. I mean, we cap it at 15. We don't allow classes to go beyond 15 because that gets a little bit tough.
The only thing about that is it's during the week.
And it is, yeah, it's during the week, so you've got to take time off work if it's not your full-time thing. Yeah. So we'd be happy to do a weekend course if you wanted to get a group together. Just let us know. Yeah.
Where are you posting the PowerPoint?
Slideshare.net. Here, let me throw it up there. So all of my slides will be there by the afternoon. Unfortunately, I have to fly home at around 5 today. I've been here all week, so I need to get home. I wish I was sticking around, but I can't. So they'll be there sometime this afternoon or tonight. If not, just check back tomorrow. Slideshare.net/I'm Rod Martin. The 45 extensions in 45 minutes is there in its entirety as well. There's also a Drupal one if you're really interested. OStraining.com. If you didn't get one of these coupons for a free month of training, you know what I was supposed to do all day today and I completely forgot? I was supposed to hand out prizes and T-shirt. So there's one hand. Yeah, wow, I really blew that.
How much is the
We'll wait.
Yeah. All right, so, okay, you get the Mandrill T-shirt because you put your hand up first if that's what you'd like. Ma'am, what's your name? Linda. Linda, you asked a lot of good questions. You get a 12-month subscription to Red Component. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
Thank you.
So, Linda, what's your last name?
Bear, B-A-I-R. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. What's your name in the back? No, sorry. The T. Yeah.
Shelley.
Shelley?
B-E-R-Y.
All right. So, guys, we've had 3 sessions together. Who else wants a T-shirt? Oh, first hand up. You know there's going to be another one, so be ready. What's
Lynn Conn, C-O-N-N.
I'm supposed to give these out to people who ask really good questions, whatever that means. So, Brian, what would you rather have, a T-shirt or the 12-month subscription to Red Component?
12 months.
All right. What's your last name, Brian?
Webster.
Okay. What you need to do to get these things, you guys, is go out to the registration table and I'll have this sheet there for you in a minute. Let's see. I guess I get one more. Anyone want to pay me? No, I'm kidding. I feel really guilty, but okay, so 2 people there put their hands up. So, all right. Paul, T-shirt or Red Component?
What's the red component? Is it
Red Component is a series of extensions that do the migration. There's one of those. I think there's 3 or 4. I'm not totally honestly sure. Please don't put that on the video. Okay. Paul, okay. And what's your last name, Paul?
Benitez, B-E-N-I-T-E-Z.
And now Michael had his hand up. Michael? Sure. Last name is?
H-O-N-E-Y.
Okay. All right, thanks. Folks, thank you so much for coming today. I hope this was helpful. You guys were really attentive, so I appreciate that. Thank you. I know it's just a ton of information in 3 hours. You're probably a little brain dead, but hopefully you've got a little bit of a handle on some of the terminology, the workflow, and things like that. Take advantage of that 1 month for free. We'd love to see you there. And feel free to not sign up and pay any money.